Soy como tú. I'm just like you. I'm just like you.
I am just like
You. I'm just like you. I like art.
My favorite song is Michael Jackson.
I make jewelry. I made this bracelet.
I like to read, eat, and sleep.
Mi piace a scuola, un pochino a scuola.
I like to sing Smooth Criminal and Billie Jean.
I like ice cream. I like tacos. Moi, j'ai aimé à jouer foot.
Then I pick my favorite colors.
Off the wall. Thriller.
You want to sing one for us?
No.
Me gusta la gimnasia. I love my sister.
That's your brother, silly. You're a sister.
我最喜欢的颜色是紫色。
I like taekwondo. I am born to be a leader. We're twins.
My favorite color is dark blue.
I like to carry the torch for Special Olympics.
I am just like you. I'm just like you.
Io sono come voi.
I'm just like you.
我和你一样。
We're just like you.
Moi, je suis comme toi.
I'm just like you.
Merci.
I am just like you.
We are just like you. Soy como tú. I'm just like you.
I'm
just like
you.
I am just like
You.
I'm just like you. I like art.
My favorite song is Michael Jackson.
I make jewelry. I made this bracelet.
I like to read, eat, and sleep.
Mi piace a scuola, un pochino a scuola.
I like to sing Smooth Criminal and Billie Jean.
I like ice cream. I like tacos.
Hi, I'm Molly Korte, founder of Project Just Like You. I began this journey back in 2016 after my son Jacob was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 1.5. I saw Jacob as just like any other child, and I wanted to start a platform where people could showcase who they are and be seen as dignified human beings. Because I truly believe that once all the barriers and the stigmas are stripped away, you see a person, and that's where friendship can begin. And I am so glad that you've joined us tonight. Thank you for being here. we first off, we want to share your story. So if you have a story to share with us, please email me at projectjustlikeYou@gmail.com. We'd love to get you on and to get to feature you. Today is Movement Monday. This is a 2018 initiative of Project Just Like You. And our goal here is to introduce you to people who we feel that are making a difference in the disability community. We are looking for, or we feature people on here that are making waves and that are trying to better our world and better the disability community and bring inclusion. Join our movement every Monday by watching us at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Project Just Like You. Movement Mondays are produced by Fiat Ministry Media. So we want to give them a huge shout out and a thank you. They make this possible. So you can check them out. Just look up at Fiat Ministry here on Facebook, or you can check out their webpage at fiatministrynetwork.tv. I hope you'll take a moment to click to share to let your friends know what you're watching. Tonight, one lucky person who contributes a relevant question or comment during our live interview will win a $25 contribution to the charity of their choice. And this is a generous sponsor by our guest tonight, Charlie Rowe, which we're very excited to have him on. So please make sure to comment, ask questions, and tonight we welcome our guest, Charlie Rowe. Charlie Rowe is the owner and adapted physical education specialist for Adaptability. Adaptability partners with schools across Chicagoland in order to provide them with quality, adapted physical education services. Adaptability currently has partnerships with 14 schools that range from public, non-public, private, and non-for-profit school settings. In addition, Charlie travels throughout Illinois doing professional developments and program improvement consultations for physical education and adapted physical education programs and their teachers. So Charlie, welcome. We're so glad that you're with us tonight. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be on.
Good. Well, we're excited to have you on. Well, first off, Charlie, I know that I gave a little brief bio, but why don't you tell us how Adaptability was started? Why did you begin this journey?
So great question. So a quick little background on how everything kind of came about was I knew from a young age I wanted to be a teacher. Didn't know what type of teacher. When I was in high school, I ran cross country, and we had a teammate of mine. Well, at the time I didn't know, but autism spectrum disorder, and I really enjoyed working with him and making him feel a part of the team, making sure that in school, you know, he was happy. He sat with us at lunch, and I would pick him up to our pasta parties and whatnot. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and that's when I started thinking that I wanted to support children with disabilities or diverse abilities. I then decided to go to Northern Illinois University because they had a PE program that taught you how to provide adequate physical education services to people with diverse abilities. So that was the primary reason I went there. And I wanted to become an adapted physical education teacher. From there, I worked at a special education cooperative where I was lucky enough to work with some really great teachers, administrators, and really learn the way things work in education. I was in a lot of different schools, seeing their programs, learning a lot on, you know, everything in the PE and adaptive PE world. And about 3 years ago, I started to see that there was a big lack of awareness for adaptive physical education in Illinois. It was kind of almost like the wild, wild west. Nobody really knew anything about it, and we were really regressed compared to other states. And then I started to think, well, how can I maybe be a small piece of this in order to fix it? And I was like, well, the only way I can do that is to go off on my own and start a company where we can partner with schools in order to ensure that they receive quality adaptive physical education services. Almost 3 years ago, my cousin Lori and we found out that my soon-to-be niece and goddaughter were born with Down syndrome, And that was just like one of the moments like that week that really I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. So from that day, I kept teaching. I started the startup process at night and weekends. And then 7 or 8 months later, at the end of the school year, I resigned and, went 100% with adaptability. Since then we've slowly grown and we now have partnerships with 14 schools, which will be 17 by the end of this week, actually. So we're just going to keep, raising awareness and growing and doing everything we can to ensure that children of all abilities receive quality and appropriate physical education services.
That is excellent. So your passion and your drive for this comes from a very personal place, it sounds like.
It does, yes.
And so do you feel like, how do you see, well, first off, you saw a need in the state of Illinois, and you took the ball and you ran with this, and now you've become this is your full-time dedication. What have you seen since you've started adaptability? What changes have you seen in your state, and what awareness have you personally witnessed through your work, Charlie?
Well, in the past, 2.5 years since I've been like fully committed to adaptability, I've seen a lot of change. No one in Illinois really has ever advocated for adapted physical education. It's not anything that exists at our State Board of Education where there's any sort of consultants there. So really just started with the awareness of letting administrators know that this is a thing. There were so many administrators that had no idea about adapted physical education, or that they have students that need adapted physical education services. So just by networking and advertising, which, I haven't done a whole lot, but, doing what I can, really just got this awareness out there, attending conferences. And then schools are just bringing me on to do professional developments, helping train their teachers, improve their programs. And then from there, the school kind of decides if they can do everything themselves or they need more support from myself or one of our, own adaptive physical educators.
Excellent. So the word is getting out. The word's getting out to all the different schools, it sounds like, in your area.
Yes.
That's fantastic. What is the long-term vision for this, Charlie? Do you foresee it going past Illinois into other states?
I guess long-term, I do that is in the back of my mind. But you definitely gotta walk before you run. So, I'm starting small and, making sure we don't grow too fast and stumble. So right now the goal is, making sure in Illinois that all students of all abilities receive quality physical education. And then from there, I guess we'll see if we go out to some other states. But yeah, that's probably still another 10 years away from that, large scaling, but it's certainly in the back of my mind.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right, Charlie, we're going to take a few minutes here to welcome some people who just joined us.
Great.
We want to welcome Rob, Kelly, James S., and Brian. And we have some questions here for you, Charlie. Kelly asks, what inspires you every day to help expand the vision for your organization?
Inspiration is definitely, it's been different this year, to be completely honest. This is the first year I'm no longer teaching every week. I'm still in schools, but I'm missing that aspect. But that's what I had to do for the greater good. But before, it was just walking into a school and seeing one of my students and seeing the excitement when they saw me, and because they would enjoy, my class. And so that every day was definitely exciting. Now I have to still wake up and still visualize it. And, through support of our adaptive physical educators and helping them through, that certainly helps me. I also love the aspect of creating jobs. We've created multiple positions for aspiring adaptive physical educators that may not be adaptive physical educators right now if adaptability didn't exist. So being able to make teachers' dreams, come true and put them in a good place inspires me as well.
I love that. Making teachers' dreams come true. Love it. Okay, another question. Can you tell us about a time that you really really reminded you that this is why you do what you do? That's a great question.
That is. So can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Can you tell us about a time that really reminded you that this is why you do what you do? So
Okay.
like, this is it.
I would say off the top of my head, 3 things. First was, my classmate and teammate that I went to high school with that, was on the autism spectrum disorder.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in college, I took a lab on adaptive physical education where I was paired 1-to-1 with an 18-year-old boy with Down syndrome. And working with him was just so enjoyable. And I learned so much about myself and, really the gains he could make working with me. So that was one of them. And then definitely, Emily. And when we found out that she had Down syndrome, that was just another pusher, I guess, towards, giving everything I had towards this company.
Of course, right. And then the other question we have here is, what can we, in the general public, do to help? How can we get involved with Sportability?
Great. So the first thing is, I would say advocacy, and just all outlets, social media, is taking everything by storm. So just advocating that, that PE is an important aspect to the curriculum and that just, PE for everyone is very important as well. And that, some students don't have the ability to be successful, to be safe, to socialize in that gen ed PE curriculum. So we've got to implement, an adapted PE curriculum. The awareness to teachers. So many teachers are not aware that there's adaptive physical educators out there in order to help their students. So many PE teachers never had the training to work with children with diverse abilities and support them. So a lot of times it falls back on the support staff to do that where they're not trained either. So again, just back to that awareness with administrators as well to make sure they know that adaptive physical education exists and out there and that they can get those services.
Fantastic. Great. We're going to take another quick short welcome break here. We want to welcome Sylvia, Lori, Kristen, Kim, another Kristen, Mary. Thank you for joining us again. Tonight we are with, our guest is Charlie Rowe, who is the founder of Adaptability. Again, we welcome all your questions and comments because tonight's lucky winner will have wins a $25 contribution to the charity of their choice. And that is courtesy of our guest, Charlie Rowe, tonight, which is a wonderful prize. So, Charlie, can you explain the importance, I mean, you did a little bit here, but we're going to hone in on this, the importance of the appropriate physical education services for children of all abilities?
Great question. So, to start with the basics, physical education is important for all children. We all know the benefits of exercise that I'm not going to jump into, but the way that daily exercise affects students on a daily basis is just astronomical. A lot of students that I work with diverse abilities have lower attention spans. Exercise increases those attention spans. So when they get that exercise, it helps them in the classroom. Helps them focus, it improves their self-confidence. Typically, a lot of the students we work with have a lot of energy that they want to burn and release. So ensuring that, whether it's, again, in gen ed PE or adapted PE is very important.
Excellent. We have another question for you, Charlie. Kristen asks, how does having a goddaughter with special needs help you drive your passion?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Every time I'm with her, I always, I'm enjoying the moment in my time with her, but I'm always thinking about her future. And when she goes, into schools and education, that her needs are going to be met. And the more we grow and the awareness grows, that gives me more confidence, that she's going to receive appropriate physical education when she gets there. So certainly, again, every time I'm with her, I try not to think about, work and just enjoy the moment, but that's always in the back of my mind.
Of course, right. That makes all the sense in the world. And, and that's a beautiful thing too, Charlie, that not only are you contributing to bettering tons of students, like you're bettering everyone that through your work in your state, but you are making a brighter path for your own goddaughter, Emily. And that, I can imagine, must feel very rewarding.
Absolutely, yes.
That's fantastic. And another question here: why adapted physical education versus the general physical education?
Great question. So many students, for a variety of reasons, just can't be successful or safe or be able to socialize in the gen ed curriculum. A lot of students, especially students, with anxiety or, autism spectrum disorder, they walk into the gym and they're already anxious and they're already, their sensory needs are kind of going all over the place, the lighting, the noise, the amount of students in there. So if a student can't be safe, they can't be successful with, the skills or the games or activities they're playing, and they're not socializing, then adapted physical education services are so important. Whether that is an adapted physical education teacher coming and pushing into a gen ed class, and they're working one-to-one with a student or multiple students. They're providing consults and support to the PE teacher, making sure that equipment modifications are being put in place, game modifications, just any way that they can share their knowledge and their training that they've had to help that teacher improve their programming is great. The student support staff too is like paraprofessionals or instructional assistants, making sure that they're supported and they know what to do in order to increase the success of that student in PE. Now, at times, a student's gen ed PE is not the appropriate placement for them. So that's where you want to start an adapted physical education program where you have classes. And it just doesn't mean like one student or, 6 or 8 students with diverse abilities. You also bring in peer buddies. At all of our schools, whether it's high school, middle school, or elementary, we have peer buddy programs put in place. So there's students that from the school that volunteer their time to come in and support, the students that we're working with, by peer modeling, showing them a skill, using visuals with them, making eye contact, just the little hellos and goodbyes, stuff like that. It's just so wonderful. So we're getting rid of that self-contained element and bringing in, really that inclusion aspect, which is so important. Something that I'm really passionate about, socialization in PE. There's so many times some students with some more real restrictive abilities don't have the opportunity to socialize with their peers. Schools, it's, very curriculum driven. The students are on task. So oftentimes you only have lunch, recess, or PE for them to really get the social aspect of education. So I love to just implement that and increase that anytime we can in our programs, or, when I'm doing professional developments and trainings, teaching their teachers how to do it as well.
That's excellent. How does one become a peer mentor? How are they chosen for that, Charlie?
It all depends on the school. Really, it comes, we like to make it very professional. We have students apply, like they fill out like a sheet on why they want to do it and, what they're going to bring to the table per se. Sometimes we have them go through little 1-minute interviews, really show them that this is important. And this is a privilege for them. So that's typically how it's done. We'll often do little trainings, it could be like a 10-minute training. Some high schools do a whole semester. So it really depends on the school. But really, having the peer buddies take ownership is makes it really great.
Excellent. Okay. We're going to take another break here, Charlie, because we've had a bunch of new people join us and we have a lot of new questions for you. We want to welcome Tom Elena, Christina, Ileana, Christina, Aaron, and we have some questions here.
Great.
James asks, how do you market your company to new schools/districts?
Great question.
Great question. Yeah.
Email, social media, flyers, conferences, networking. As mentioned, I was lucky enough to, when I worked for the special education cooperative, I worked in a lot of schools and I did a lot of networking. So the majority of our schools we have partnerships is all been based off referrals. The administrators in the special education aspect, at least in Illinois, it's a small world, so word travels fast, and luckily it's been all positive things that we're getting, from administrators that we work with.
Perfect. Rob asks, can you talk about turning physical therapy into personal training?
A little bit, yeah. So I do know the physical therapy world a little bit. In so many schools, I've co-treated or consulted with physical therapists. They often will push into our classes just as another mode of support. They offer great advice for me to improve my programs to meet those physical therapy demands, navigating the school independently, getting stronger, helping students ambulate, things like that. My wife's also a physical therapist, so I certainly bounce ideas off her all the time on how I can help my students or any of our students improve an APE or PE. As far as, I believe you said the workout aspect or the gym aspect, I guess, physical therapists and adaptive physical educators just continuing to work with gyms to help them, I guess would be my best answer for that.
Okay. Well, he has some more questions here.
Great.
So he wants to know how does it improve confidence and how does it improve things for classmates?
Great. So with the confidence, so many times, really any child, this is my personal opinion, you can struggle in the school aspect. You're always learning, you're always failing and, learning again from that. I feel like with PE and adapted PE, there's so many skills that you can learn somewhat quick and pick up on that just makes them feel so good. Like sometimes it might take me a week or a month or sometimes 3 years to help a child just overhand throw a ball. So right there, them just learning that throwing a ball and making it to a target, just that smile goes up so much. And then back to the peer buddies in there. Just the students are so happy when they have, typically developing peers, working with them and socializing with them. So that I feel like it shows a lot of confidence as well.
That's excellent. Good. Okay. We have some more questions that are coming. So while that's getting ready, what has been, do you have one particular memory or story, Charlie, that that struck you in the time that you have been doing your work that you'd love to share? Like anything that, does that make sense? Like just.
It does. Yeah.
Any wonderful story?
There's so many, but I'm just, off the top of my head, what is a great one?
I'm sure there are.
Generate one. So this wouldn't be really in the adapted physical education realm, but I used to be a Special Olympics coach.
Okay.
A volunteer, but I no longer coach my own team. And the very first time I coached an event to see all of our athletes receive medals was very uplifting. So that's something that, like, that day was one of the most uplifting days of my life, was that first Special Olympics event that I coached.
Oh, and again, your ties to Special Olympics was long before you even knew about Emily, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I've been involved in Special Olympics, regularly for about 10 years.
That's awesome. And did that tie back to the story of when you were talking about the person that you, oh goodness, was it your classmate, I believe you said, who had autism?
Yes. Yeah. And yes. Yeah. Definitely. The high school I went to had a pretty prominent special education program in our area, and they had Olympics team. I can remember my junior year of high school, our team won state, and that was a big deal. So certainly, high school is really where I started to open my eyes and, enjoy that aspect.
Oh, that's wonderful. We want to welcome a few more people who've joined us. Dina and Sean just joined us. Welcome, Dina and Sean. We're glad that you're with us. Again, this is Movement Monday, and we have Charlie Rowe as our guest tonight, who is the owner of Adaptability. Tom has a question for you. He asks, when starting with a new group of kids, how do you determine what exercises or programs will be best to fit their special needs?
That is a phenomenal question, and one that can be a little lengthy to answer. So I'll try to keep it short. There's out there that we can do in the adaptive physical education world to try and get a baseline on a student's ability. I guess I like to start simple and then set realistic goals where I want, our program to go. Not only yearly goals, but just like, this is where I'd like this class or these students to progress the next month, the next semester, the next year. So just starting, again, small is real important. Like ensuring that your students are going to be successful, I feel is so important. So, giving them that positive experience right away, and then getting to learn about them, what makes them work, what aspects they enjoy, and then just slow growth from there. And then was there a second aspect to that question I forgot about?
No, I think that was it. Just, yeah, you answered it. Excuse me. I have to go to a coughing fit here. Okay, so wonderful. Well, hold on. Okay, well, Charlie, we're going to take another round of questions. So if anyone else out there has a question, we'd love to have Charlie answer it. And we're going to view is there anything? Sorry, okay. And if not, then we'll be wrapping it up here. Charlie, is there anything else that I haven't, that hasn't been discussed or hasn't been asked that you would like to share?
I would just, everyone that's, watching this, continue with the awareness and the visibility, advocating for, children in education with diverse abilities, not only in, the physical education aspects. The more awareness we can get out there, the better things are going to get, because it all starts with one person advocating, goes from there. And, parents of children with, diverse abilities, know that it's your right, with FAPE, free and appropriate public education, that your children get appropriate physical education. It just doesn't come down to math, science, adaptive physical education services are on an IEP, and know that, that you have a voice in your child's, physical education curriculum. It's not like how it used to be where, everyone just went to the gym and the gym was in the back of the building and whatever happened. Now, PE programs are growing, and, we want to continue to advocate for that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all that you do in Illinois, Charlie, and for all you do for the future. And it sounds like that this services will, I hope, continue to grow and expand, and will become more prominent in our country, because it's something that it's definitely needed. Yes. And not everyone fits a mold. In fact, most of us don't.
Yeah.
And the fact that you saw that need and you created this incredible business, I just want to thank you, because obviously I think of my son, and I think, when one day he's going to have to go through this too. And it's wonderful to know that this is an emerging option for children in the classrooms. Oh, you know what? We have a few more people that just joined on. So we're going to say hi to, I'm going to say hi to Liz and Heather, who just joined us. And there is another question that just popped up.
Great.
Rob wants to know, do you work with adult sports leagues?
I personally do not know, but I know the need out there is very big. The only aspect that I've been a part of is, Special Olympics, and special rec teams that would obviously send adults. I've certainly rooted and cheered for people well into their 80s at Special Olympics. So that's about the extent that I have of knowledge with that. But I know it's very important, again, everyone of all abilities should have opportunities to get, exercise or physical education, physical activity. Ways that we can help them, again, is, special rec leagues and whatnot, adaptive sports leagues.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to pick a winner here, Charlie.
Great.
So we're going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 50.
1 and 50. I'm going to have to go with 24.
24. Okay, give us a few seconds.
All right.
Who's our lucky winner? Okay, congratulations, Tom Graziano. You are a winner tonight.
That's
You guys know each other, Charlie?
He's our accountant.
Oh! Well, Tom, congratulations. You get to pick a charity.
Excellent.
That is so funny. Wow. Well, Charlie, thank you once again for being on our show tonight. And thank you again for all the work that you do, and continue to just advocate out there. And it sounds like you're on fire.
Yeah, I'm a small fish in a big pond, but I'm doing my best, to put everything I can towards, not only adaptability, but just adapted physical education in general. In any way that I can help. Right now we're Illinois based, but if anyone has any questions, always feel to reach out. And if any way I can help, I'd love to.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much. And, keep doing great things as well. This was really cool. I greatly enjoyed it.
Great. Well, it's wonderful to have you on our show tonight, Charlie. I can feel your passion and your excitement about what you do.
Great. Thank you. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Good night.